Hello and welcome to another episode of the DRS Zone podcast. It's the end of the week. We're going to talk about the Miami Grand Prix that just happened last week. My name is Ed Wyatt. Alongside me, as always, my co-host. He's an F1 expert. He's also my 14-year-old son, Sam Wyatt. How are we, Sam?
Very good. Today we're going to be wrapping up the Miami Grand Prix along with answering some tough questions.
Can't wait. Yes, I think there are some very good questions that need to be asked about this year's Formula One season. We will get to that. But first, a little bit about the Miami Grand Prix, and not to start on a negative note, but it wasn't exactly like Azerbaijan, the most entertaining race, was it?
No, it was not. The Max Verstappen coming from ninth to win the race, Sergio Perez second, Alonso for the fourth time in 5 races this season on the podium. George Russell in fourth, Sainz fifth, Hamilton sixth, Leclerc only seventh, Gasly and Ocon eighth and ninth, Magnussen in the points in 10th, 11th was Sonoda, Stroll down in 12th, Bottas, Albon, Hulkenberg, Joe, Norris down in 17th, and rookies plenty, De Vries, Piastri, and Sargent, and no DNFs for the first time this season, I believe.
Yeah, no DNFs. And you're right, the rookies having a little difficult start to the season. We'll get to that in a little bit. But it was a great effort by Max to come from ninth after that tricky qualifying session where he didn't get a lap in and ended up starting back there. But to see him just cruise through the field and really not even be challenged by his teammate Checo that much. Is this a worry? Is my first big question that we're going to look at. Is this a worry for F1 fans for where this season is headed? The fact that Max can start in ninth and just cruise his way right through, and pretty much everyone else is kind of in agreement that they couldn't stop him.
It's a worry for fake fans. For real fans, no. This happened before. It's happened with Hamilton, happened with Schumacher, happened with Vettel. But it's been two boring races. If the fake fans who got into it from Drive to Survive, if they can't handle two boring races, then they can't handle the sport. That's what I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a great point you make. A lot of people did get hooked during lockdown, especially, and furthermore, Drive to Survive. And we're talking a lot of American fans in particular, which is the big market they were going for, but also here in Australia as well too. And it will be really interesting to see because a lot of them came in around that drama of Hamilton and Verstappen in Abu Dhabi, right? And just how amazing that was. You had Ricardo in there. He's kind of a the lighter side of things, very funny guy. Now it's just kind of settled into this sort of Max is going to win it and maybe Checo can stop him, and that's about it. So I
Yeah.
I do wonder if people are going to see, because for years there has been that thing around F1, hasn't there, that when there was a dominant driver like you mentioned, like a Hamilton or a Schumacher, and now a Verstappen, that there was a little bit of that boredom factor, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it'll be neat.
Especially for like the new fans who just watch a show and see all the drama. They don't see the boring bits. So they're expecting the drama, the crashes, the the safety cars, the rain, the shock winners. They don't expect all this because Drive to Survive doesn't show that.
Yeah, it's edited up. It's a TV show, and it certainly does that. Um, Going to Miami, staying with Miami, I should say. Driver introductions. So LL Cool J introduced the drivers. Let's have a quick listen to that.
This driver fought for the championship in 2022. It's Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, so that's something that was really talked about a lot on social media. What is your gut feeling? Cringeworthy or okay?
I think cringeworthy a little bit.
Do you?
I think they played it up a little too much. I mean, it would have been nice, like now coming out, Lando Norris, instead of like just like he's proven he's a champion. It's not long till he wins. I think that part is just a little cringy,
Yeah,
if
see,
I'm
I
being
liked
honest.
it. I did look now. They do it in NASCAR. and they make a big production out of it. I didn't mind it. I found LL Cool J. I thought he made some good comments. His pronunciation was good. It is in Miami, right? So if you go to Monaco, you've got the boats. You've got the fact that the track is you can't pass on the track. You've got all the high flying people there. If you go to Japan, you're going to get rain. Wherever you go, you're going to get these certain things that are about that track. And I think Miami has that glitz and glamour. And I think by having those
Yeah.
introductions, I don't mind it. I think it was okay. I
It would
wouldn't.
not fly any other track.
No, not at all. And I don't think you would. Maybe in Vegas, right? Maybe in Vegas.
Maybe in
But
Vegas, yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
but I don't think you're right. I wouldn't be arguing for it in Belgium or Italy or somewhere
No,
like that. But I actually
no,
think it
definitely
works
not.
in Miami. Thoughts on now? Martin Brundle's grid walk wasn't nearly as controversial this year
No,
as it
there
was
was not
last
many
year.
people on the grid.
They separated a
It
little
was
bit,
not
did they?
packed. Yeah, because they had the paddock inside the stadium, so everyone was in there getting drinks and food, and the actual fans were in the pit lane. So
So
yeah, I didn't mind that, and the paddock was really cool.
it was, wasn't it? Yeah, it looks great. I agree. He did catch up with his old pal Paulo Banchero, who he mistook for Patrick Mahomes last year, and Mahomes is there as well too, which I found very funny. But the one weird part of it was when Brundle was running out of time and he was trying to get Roger Federer and he couldn't really get his attention. So he sent Jackie Stewart, Sir Jackie Stewart, over to get Roger Federer. And at one point, it appeared like a security guard was telling Jackie Stewart to, no, he couldn't get through there. What do you think of
Yeah.
that?
If I'm being honest, I doubt that security guard knew who Jackie Stewart was. Probably just some American guy who's just come into the sport, just a general security guard. I don't know who this old guy is with a hat, but he's not touching Roger Federer. That's all I know. That's probably what he thought. But if he did know what he was doing, you gotta let Jackie Stewart in. You gotta let him.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the funny thing is, so when I was a kid growing up, Jackie Stewart hosted a lot of ABC sports racing telecast. In fact, when I always joke to you about it, he would always say it's a great day for a motor car race. Like he would start the broadcast like that. So we kind of grew up with that. But now there's a whole generation of people younger than me that have zero idea who this guy is, even
Yeah,
though he's an icon. You see that hat and those pants, the tartan coming at you. He should have carte blanche to go anywhere he wants and do anything he wants. The idea that
yeah,
the security guard was even questioning him, I think that got a lot of people offside. I'll be honest with you. And you talk about the new fans and stuff like that. I think people lump that in to the same boat as some of the other American stuff. Kind of like, how do they not know who this
yeah,
legend of Formula One is?
yeah.
Might be worth a chat to that security guard at some point. Danica Patrick, I say this every year, not much of a question, but more of a comment. I just think she brings a lot to the broadcast. She's got
Yeah, yeah.
she's got the
She's got
capability.
yeah, and she knows what it's like to drive at a top level.
Absolutely
Yeah, no,
right.
she brings some good analysis.
Yeah, I
And
think and I
yeah,
think look, I wouldn't have her again like the introductions. I wouldn't have her for the European races, but I think to have her for the American races
yeah.
makes perfect
Even
sense.
for Coda or for Vegas would be good
No, it makes
for all
perfect
of the
sense.
American
Yeah, because
races.
she's
Yeah,
she's driven in these places, whether it be NASCAR, she's driven in the Daytona 500, whether it be Indy, she's driven the Indy 500. She's probably driven somewhere in Vegas, not the street circuit, obviously, but the old speedway there for NASCAR.
yes, in
So
which was built in a parking lot.
no, not that one. There was an actual
Not
race
that
there.
one.
No, there's an actual NASCAR circuit, oval circuit that she would have driven on, I'm sure. But I think she brings a lot to that. I give Sky a lot of credit for bringing her in there because she knows what she's talking about, and she sort of brings that American thing to it, which I like. Now,
Yeah,
let's get into some of the more difficult questions. Leclerc crashes in qualifying. Not a great result. Is he losing his touch, my friend? A guy that is talked about
no,
as one of the great drivers, great young drivers. Is he losing his
no,
touch?
no. The car is losing its touch. It Nothing to do with him. It's the car. The car is a mess this year. We should write this season off. Start next season. Start building the car. No point. We're the 4th fastest car this season, and there's nothing we can. Not even upgrades can get us to the front. Just write it off. Get ready for the next one. That's what I would do.
All right. Counter argument to that. Car is
Yep.
not great. I agree with you 100%. Just seems like he's making a few errors that maybe Sainz isn't making. Maybe just
Sainz is more consistent,
yeah.
but Leclerc is faster on his day.
Maybe it's mental. I'm just not convinced. This is a guy last year, remember, that we thought was going to challenge Max for the title right after the first few races.
I never.
We did.
I knew he was not going to win it.
Oh, I'm not saying win it. I'm saying challenge. Like this is a guy that he was talked about as being one of the great young drivers.
He is
on the grid.
He's got more talent than Max Verstappen, in my opinion. I think he's faster than Max Verstappen. He makes more mistakes, but Verstappen can make silly decisions, and I think Leclerc is faster.
Wow.
It's just that Red Bull is very fast.
Wow. That is a hot take, my friend.
Is the more talented driver.
That is a hot take.
I mean, look at 2019 when their cars were fairly even. Leclerc was outperforming him, but he just got so unlucky with the car and the pit stops and the engines and the strategy. And
he's had bad luck. I will absolutely give you that.
At Red Bull, he wins the title. At Red Bull, he wins the title.
Yeah, he might. I just
anyone at Red Bull wins the title. I win the title at Red Bull.
No, that's not true. I'd like to see that actually. I'm agreeing with you. I don't think he's lost his touch either. I do think there's some mental things going on where he knows the car's not great and he knows he's probably written off this year, whereas last year he was in with a fighting chance. I think
he was in it at this point. He was leading at this time.
And
going into Imola, he had like a 30-point lead over Max Verstappen.
There you go. That's exactly
going into Imola. And Imola's where it all started.
Yeah.
First crash of the season. And from there, we did not look back.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Now, just a quick question on the back of that. There have been rumors about him going somewhere else. If he goes to that other team, how do you reconcile sort of Ferrari versus Leclerc?
He's not
to Mercedes.
Going to the other team.
What if he does? I'm throwing it out there. Hypothetical.
Depends what it is. If it's Red Bull, I ditch Leclerc. No, I will stick with Ferrari and I will follow Leclerc.
Okay. What if it's Mercedes?
If it's Mercedes better than Red Bull. I'll still follow the driver. I'm just not following the team.
Yep. All right.
And I'm not following the other driver. If it's Leclerc and Verstappen, I'm not supporting Verstappen. I'm only supporting Leclerc, and I'm supporting the 2 Ferrari drivers.
I don't think it's going to be that. We mentioned.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
that would be unstoppable.
It would be unbelievable. The rookies, you mentioned this earlier in the show.
Yes, yes.
De Vries 18, Piastri 19, Sargent
was 20th
in front of his home crowd, which was not ideal. Tough time for these rookies.
Yes.
Do we see that? The rumor came out literally today before we started the show about Ricciardo wanting to get back on the circuit and where's it going to be and all that.
Of course he does.
Yeah,
he's still got so much to prove.
Absolutely. There was a rumor today, among many rumors, that if De Vries doesn't get his act together in the next 3 races, Ricciardo's coming in. What do you think? What do you think?
Rubbish.
Yeah?
Well, I mean, the only part of me that thinks that could possibly happen is the fact that AlphaTauri are linked with Red Bull. But it's not going to happen. You don't get rid of a driver after 7 races. You don't. You just don't. You honestly, you can't get rid of him.
What you need
He's not coming back this year. De Vries, Logan, Sargent, Piastri all look very fast outside of F1. But F1's a completely different beast. And we saw drivers who weren't as fast as them in F2, like Zhou Guanyu, who's excelled much more in F1 than they have, same as Tsunoda and I was gonna say Mazepin, but that's anyways. But Tsunoda and Zhou Guanyu, they weren't champions of F2. They weren't the greatest, but they still performed. These guys are champions, and they don't seem to perform. It's just F1 is so different, And it is kind of shocking because De Vries has been around for so long. He's won Formula E, he's won F2, he's been the reserve driver for Mercedes for so long. He scored points on his debut for Williams. It's just that AlphaTauri is not very fast. And I know Tsunoda is scoring points, but I think Tsunoda is leaving to Alpine or Alex Albon to Alpine. I think Ocon could be getting the flick at the end of this season if he doesn't improve.
Yeah, that's another whole nother situation, and I don't disagree with you on that either. I think he's under the pump a little bit. I think Sonoda is the argument against De Vries. I think Sonoda has been in the conversation. He has scored points. He's finished 11th.
Yes,
And
11th here.
De Vries is absolutely sort of struggling. Now, I'm not attacking him at all. I'm just saying that would be the argument if you're looking at whether or not you want to bring in potentially somebody like Ricardo. That's all. I mean, doesn't mean De Vries is done necessarily, but maybe it's proving to be too difficult for him. I don't know on the inside.
Too early.
None of us
Needs
know.
more than 7 races to prove himself.
Yeah, I don't know. They're saying
way too early.
They're saying 3 more. Piastri, Norris.
What if Red Bull Toro Rosso sacked Max Verstappen after he didn't score points in 6 races? You've got to give it time. You can't just this is one of the only sports where there are rarely a mid-season transfer. Whereas look at football when you got players going from club to club, country to country all throughout the season. You will rarely see a driver change mid-season unless there's like saying 2020 when Grosjean had his crash, they bought a replacement in.
Yeah.
But you rarely see a sacking of a driver and a hiring of a driver mid-season. And I think it's way too early to even discuss that.
I don't disagree with that. I will say it's also rare to have a driver of Ricardo's ability and his resume sitting there not with a drive.
In the same team. Too much.
In the same team.
It's because he was asking for too much from Haas. And he went to Red Bull, and that is what it is. And he can't just expect to come in 7 races after. I love Ricardo, but
I don't know if he's
not going to drive this year. Next year, 100% I'm on board with that. This year, I think we just got to give it a couple races.
We'll
race
see.
5.
It's an interesting one.
It's race 5.
I get that. I'm just saying that
he to settle down. It's not like that AlphaTauri's a Red Bull. It's not like he should be challenging for wins and he's finishing last. They should be challenging for 13th.
They should be challenging for some points if Tsunoda.
Even if you get Ricardo in that AlphaTauri, it's not going to score points.
Well,
that is a bad.
That's a possibility.
So I think there's no point in doing it.
All right, couple more for you. More good drives from Russell and Hamilton. I think Russell's quietly having a really good season. Is Mercedes the number 2 car at the moment?
No shot.
Still think Aston Martin?
Aston Martin.
Yep.
The only thing is Russell and Hamilton are way more talented than Lance Stroll. If you have a Russell equivalent in that Aston Martin, that Aston could be 3rd and 4th every single weekend.
Interesting.
And I would not be surprised. I think Lance Stroll, you're not going to get rid of him, but I think if Aston Martin had the money and they were a bigger team, and say they had, I don't know, who's a good example?
Say Stroll didn't own the team.
Yeah, like Norris, for example. Norris is a great idea.
Yep.
Then they would be 3rd and 4th every weekend. I just think the only thing Aston are lacking is 2 drivers with the potential that Verstappen and Perez have, Leclerc and Sainz, and Russell and Hamilton. That's the only thing that could lose them second in this title.
Yep, that's a good point. By the way, the wedding of the year is this weekend. Lance Stroll's sister and Australian Olympic snowboarder Scotty James is coming up this weekend, apparently. Between the races. Last question for you. Last one. Who is having more fun than Fernando Alonso? Is there anyone on the circuit?
No.
No.
He's just showing off. He's driving. He's in 3rd. He's going strategy. Oh, I saw Lance on the big screen. He's watching the TV while he's driving. He may as well just get a Corona out there and drink and drive.
Or is it an Estrella Galicia or whatever he's got?
He is having so much fun. I love it. It's a driver that we thought was gone for sure. He was out in 2018, came back in 2021. He had a good first season, scored a podium in Qatar. 2022, not as strong. Moving to Aston Martin, I'm just so happy that that car is good for him. Two-time world champion. It
Yeah.
should be more than that. He's such a talented driver.
It is
By
so
far
much
the best
fun.
Spanish
Yeah.
driver. The only Spanish winner in Formula One until Carlos Sainz,
It is
which I
so much
find
fun to
incredible.
watch him. Yeah, he's just having a
I find
blast.
it incredible there have
Yeah.
been no Spanish winners before him
Mm,
in the 50 years before him.
that is
That's
interesting, isn't it?
astonishing.
Yeah. No, you're right. All right, we've answered those questions. Next up, in not this weekend, but the following weekend, is the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It's obviously at Imola, which is a race we
Yes.
kind of like, one we sort of fell in love with in a weird
Yeah.
way, just because it kind of happened during lockdown, didn't it?
I'm glad it came back. It's been a good circuit. It's just the whole Ayrton Senna thing kind of threw people off it, but
Mm,
it's a very good circuit. It's got the mix of like turns, chicanes, and main straights. I really like it. I mean, I didn't love it with the sprint. I didn't think the sprint really worked at Imola, but I do like the track, and I am looking forward to this weekend.
well, 2020, it was Hamilton, Bottas, and Ricardo on the podium. 5 DNFs that year, including Verstappen.
Yes, it's
2021,
tire blue.
yeah, 2021, it
That
was
was a good race. 2021
20. Yeah,
with
Verstappen,
Verstappen,
Hamilton,
Hamilton,
Norris.
and wait,
He passed Leclerc,
20,
didn't he, on the last, like late in the race? Is that right?
I'm trying to remember. That was the one where Bottas and Russell had that huge crash.
Oh, right. Yeah, they almost came to
Yeah,
blows.
Leclerc was um where was he? He was running second, and then Hamilton crashed and went
Yes,
into the wall, and then Verstappen took the lead, and Leclerc went in second, and then Hamilton came back up, and
that's
Leclerc
right.
lost out to Norris in the final restart.
Yeah,
I do
exactly.
remember.
I
I do
was,
remember that.
I
And
was
then
hoping
2022, Verstappen, Perez, and Lando Norris,
Norris
Alonso and
again.
Sainz DNF. Joe was a DNF in the sprint race.
Had that
But
terrible
yeah,
crash in that
no, no,
sprint
no,
race,
that was
didn't he?
Silverstone.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was. You're right.
That was
You're right.
Silverstone.
You're right.
But
It
yeah,
was
pretty
Silverstone.
interesting. Lando Norris
Mm,
is very good at this track. He loves this track. He's been on the podium here twice. He was almost on pole position in 2021, I believe.
that's a good
No,
question.
no,
Then is
Max Verstappen though.
there's no way Norris can podium in this
No,
McLaren,
no,
can he?
no,
No way.
no. He was the only non-Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes to take a podium last year.
Yeah,
So
no chance. I can't see him
I,
doing it this year.
I
By the way,
think I have.
predictions.
Yeah,
I think I
we
nailed
didn't
it
do
last
him.
week, didn't I?
Oh, we did do him. Yeah, you
Didn't I
nailed it.
nail it?
I think you had like Verstappen,
Verstappen, Perez,
Perez,
Alonso, didn't I?
Alonso.
I think I did.
You originally said Verstappen, Alonso, Perez, but
Oh, yeah, maybe you're right. And then you had Hamilton in there, which actually wasn't that bad a call, actually, to be honest.
Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton.
Yeah, not that bad a call. What do you think this week? I'm going to make you go
All right,
first this
we
time.
got. Yeah, we got Verstappen wins it, Perez second, then
That's kind of how it's going, isn't it?
Russell. I think Russell.
Gee, Ross, I like it.
I
He's
think he
driving really
does
well.
come through.
Okay.
And then my bold prediction.
Yep.
Is that while he's good at this track and his teammates fast, I think McLaren have a shocking weekend. Just
Right.
way off the pace. That's
Okay.
I feel.
I'm going to say Verstappen wins it. Alonso is second. He's going to sneak up. And,
Yep.
oh, geez, I was going to throw someone else in there, but surely I can't. Perez third.
So, okay. Boring.
It is boring. I know. It's not great. But, and I guess we probably should just throw a few in there because it's not like anyone's holding us to it and,
No.
grilling us for not getting this right. But
Yeah.
I'm going to say
Starting next week.
Norris is in the points.
The points.
Norris in the points, maybe even top. No, I was going to say top 6. No, I'll put him in the points. Norris top 10.
Yeah, all right.
How's that for my bold prediction? F2 and the F3 are back this weekend as well. So that gives us something
Yes.
extra to watch.
Yes,
which we
no
love.
F2 or F3 in Miami. F2 were in Baku. But yeah, lots of action. F1, F2, F3 in Imola, a track that we love.
Yep.
I can't wait.
Yep, will be good. All right, you have been listening to the DRS Zone podcast. My name is Ed Wyatt. His name is Sam Wyatt. We will see you after the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix.